After the immediate success of the first movie, Channing Tatum announced in a Twitter Q&A in July 2012 that a sequel to Magic Mike was already in the works. Opting out of directing this time around, Steven Soderbergh selected the first movie's first AD, Gregory Jacobs, as director. It was announced early on that Matthew McConaughey would not be returning for this new iteration. He was hot off of a recent Best Actor Oscar win for his role in the AIDS drama Dallas Buyers Club. Cody Horn and Alex Pettyfer would also not be returning. With lower stakes and more of a fun road trip vibe, the Magic Mike sequel is a who's who of familiar faces. Amber Heard, Jada Pinkett Smith, Donald Glover, Andie MacDowell, Elizabeth Banks, and yes, even Michael Strahan appears as a stripper in this movie. With the focus of the plot shifted towards the group of male dancers, several actors who had small roles in the first movie now found themselves as the center of attention for the sequel, culminating in a concert-like show at the end, showcasing all of their stripper talents. This movie grossed a worldwide box office total of $122.5 million against a budget of just $14.8 million, and received mixed to negative reviews from critics, with its main criticism being that it just isn't as good as the first film. But do we agree with this sentiment, or did we all think that this movie is a hidden gem? Get ready to oil up your bodies once again, prepare your sexy ice cream toppings, grind the nearest power tool, and head to your local Plantation Speakeasy strip club because we're in heaven. Join me, Matt McGregor, along with my co-hosts Harris McCabe and Colin Shaw, as we peel the sweaty thong off of the second and last movie in the Magic Mike twofer franchise of films. This is 2015's Gregory Jacobs classic, Magic Mike XXL. This is a show about franchises, dance movie franchises. You're listening to License to Watch.
Why in the world was this movie made?
Take turns choosing the movies, and we decided to do a twofer on this one. So like we were only taking, it's got to be a franchise. That's our first rule. And this time we added the extra rule that we were each gonna pick franchises that were only 2 movies long. So this was my choice. And as I explained last time, I love Steven Soderbergh, but I had never seen the first Magic Mike for like years because I just assumed, not really my style. And then I finally watched it randomly in a gay bar in Kansas City after the Super Bowl and loved it. And so I guess this is as good a time as any to explain how I came to see Magic Mike XXL, which is a shorter story. But this happened like maybe 2 years ago. I was on Amazon looking for something to cheer myself up, making some stupid purchase, and I saw Magic Mike Blu-ray for $1. And I was like, shit, that sounds pretty good. All right, I'll buy it from a used bookstore. And so a week later, what shows up in the mail is Magic Mike XXL, which explains the $1 pricing. But at the same time, I'm like, well, what the fuck am I going to do with this? So I wrote a very irate customer complaint to, whatever it is, Dave's Book Attic in Spokane. Be like,
I'm sure someone read that and really cared at all.
well, actually, Colin, I think they may have, because I wrote this irate email that was like, "Dear Dave's Book Attic, I paid $1 for what you advertised, which was the auteur-driven indie hit Magic Mike, not this knockoff mommy porn sequel, which I won't even bother to watch. Please refund my money and let me know where I can send this Blu-ray back." And they wrote back, sorry about the confusion. Keep the $1. Here's your $1 back. Keep the Blu-ray. It's not worth it. It's fine. So then last year when I was moving apartments, I was like throwing out all the shit I didn't want, and I saw that Magic Mike XXL, and I'm like, I need more space on my shelf, so I'm going to toss this. I'll sell it to I'll give it away to like the local used bookstore or Goodwill or something. But then before I did, I was like, I should at least watch it. And I watched it and actually really enjoyed it. And like, it's not a good movie by any stretch of the imagination, but I was shocked at how not bad it was. That I was like, oh, okay, I get it. It's kind of like, this is kind of fun. I'll stick it around. So
It's like a good movie that's layered with horrible improvised dialogue throughout.
Oh, I mean, any of the dialogue
didn't have
scenes, you're just
that-
like, stop talking.
Yeah.
yeah, can we just
Dance
get back
some
to
more.
a dance number or something, please?
That story reminds me of when I bought The Craft on DVD. I bought it from the movie trading company, and that's like a buy, sell, trade, DVD place in the Dallas area. I went to the store, I bought The Craft, I brought it home, I opened up the case, and inside was the Renee Zellweger and Hugh Grant vehicle, Bridget Jones. Is that what it is? Bridget
Yeah,
Jones?
Bridget Jones's Diary.
Yeah, but it was the sequel.
Oh.
It was like Bridget Jones is like next fart or whatever.
Bridget Jones's Baby, or Bridget Jones
Yeah.
Beyond the Edge of Reason, or something like that. I can't remember.
And I was irate. I had to drive 15 minutes back to Louisville and go back to the movie trading company. And I was so mad. And they were like, wow, we have really messed up.
We really blew it with this guy.
We're so sorry.
This guy loves The Craft, which I actually think is a really good movie. But
It was the weirdest blend of like both ambivalence and knowing exactly what I was talking about. Like, yeah, I understand that this man is very upset about this. It's just really hard for me to care because of where I'm at, you know?
Well, it's funny, Harris, also the confusion over, XXL versus the original. As I've been like trying to like read stuff online about Magic Mike, it's kind of crazy how much the first movie's been like washed out. Like it's really hard to get to it. Like I was trying to remember, like, wait, was Matt Bomber the same guy? Like he looks so different in the second one, and I was like looking him up for Magic Mike, and I could only get images from the sequel. There's like nothing from the first, so it was like you really had to dig harder to even pull. It's only like 3 years earlier, but it was like hardly there.
yeah, it's funny because it was again a huge hit. It wasn't as critically successful as the first one, but it also wasn't panned. Like a lot of critics enjoyed it and gave it good reviews. What's funny is it's like sort of, in a lot of ways, it's exactly what I thought the first one was, which is kind of like beefcake, very, women are the target audience, and it's like girls' night out type of thing. And I think they're definitely catering to the like the male gay demographic more in this one than they were in the first one, with the visit to the drag bar and stuff like that. Obviously very, very superficially, but it is very much more about that. But in its own way, it functions like a musical. It's probably, I laughed more at this one. It's funnier.
It's super campy. I mean, like everything is like very tongue in cheek, like campy. Like they're making fun of it, like each scene. Mm-hmm. It's great. I'm sure we'll get more into it. I don't know how you guys run this or how it's organized, but
Yeah, I kind of feel like this is one of the weak points in a way, though, is that it tried to appeal to so many groups of people. Like, yeah, it tried to get the girls' night out crowd. It also tried to go for a gay men's crowd. I think it also tried to go for a straight men's crowd with this like road trip road
comedy,
trip movie.
Yeah.
My roommate was like literally like, I haven't seen it, but I heard it's a bro road trip movie. And I was like, yeah, it is. And then yeah, like all those things are kind of going on at once, and I'm like, it's like kind of like who's, this is kind of like a fantasy world. Whose fantasy is this? Like it's trying to be everyone's fantasy, and like it keeps changing.
And it naturally feels very pandering for a lot of those.
I don't like that.
You definitely get that feeling that I think their heart's in the right place, but they just can't help but feel pandering when it's like, oh, we've got to have the little gay guys dancing on the bar before, who by the way were much better amateur drag queens than any of the guys who actually
the voguing,
the Magic Mike
the
voguing, right?
That was definitely one of like the top moments of the movie, though. Those two guys that were voguing, like really skinny guys, were great. I'm sure they're like big famous vogers are incredible. But but Channing Tatum wasn't bad.
Yeah. But then they brought a bunch of big guys on the stage and like pushed them out of the way. But everyone cheered.
Right.
Yeah.
What?
They utilized Kevin Nash much better in this movie than they did in the first.
Yeah.
For me, this movie was, I think Harris said something similar, where like it's felt to me like they were trying to make the movie that everyone thought the first one was going to be, but with Soderbergh like taking a back seat on this one, and actually, I've never watched a movie that made me miss Matthew McConaughey more, because like now all these like dancers who had like one or two lines in the first movie are now major characters, and they have feelings and emotions and dialogue.
Let's talk about that, because this is something that was really a big part of the first movie. Was we had all these dancers, and they all had basically like one little scene. They had like one little moment or one little whatever. They had one dance number and then like a couple of lines. And in this movie, they're carrying a lot of weight. Who pulled it off and who didn't? That's my question. Which one of these guys were actually okay?
Okay.
I think none of them are any good.
Wait. No. So, okay. Watching the first movie, I was so surprised that Big Dick Richie Joe Manganiello, is that how you say his last name? So like he's like super famous from True Blood, right? And I was trying to remember like the year, if it's 2012, like he was already big by then, and I was surprised by how they limited him in the first Magic Mike. So in this one, I actually thought this is what I thought he was going to do in the first film. So I actually feel like he was amazing, like his freaking like convenience store dance, and then
the convenience store dance was the highlight of the movie for me. It was the best. I mean, there was a couple of real high points in this movie. This movie has a couple of scenes that just fucking work, and that is one of them. That is, if I was trying to get somebody to see this movie, I would just show them that scene and be like, this is, you'll enjoy it. It's fun. It's stupid. You'll like it.
I feel like they did a good job of like, they had these scene ideas. Like I think like the drag queens, like the voguing, then like the convenience store, being on a van with these guys, the convention, probably the stuff with like Jada Pinkett Smith. But then it's like, then they had to connect those, and like they're like, oh, it was like almost like these like music video moments that they had ideas about.
Vignettes.
You know, vignettes, the vignettes.
Sorry, before we go further, I just want to introduce our guest, Daniel Leeds, friend, longtime friend. We haven't seen him in so long.
Oh, I miss you
Daniel
guys.
from the East Coast. Daniel, before we jump back into everyone else's thoughts, do you want to just like, tell everyone like a little bit about yourself, what you've got, what you do, what you've got going on?
Yeah, I'm happy to. Thanks for having me on the show.
Thank you.
Well, yeah, since, graduating from USC with you guys and moving back to New York, I've pretty much been working only in documentary TV generally. And then I just finished up on a new Discovery Plus show called Queen of Meth that premiered last week, and got some positive reviews, New York Times, so very happy about that. And I'm taking
my Roku keeps telling me to watch that.
I know, I've seen the ads for it. So
are you the target?
Are
you the target demographic for meth?
No, I think they just paid up with Roku, the company. So like all the Roku TVs are like, you should watch this.
Totally.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's an interesting documentary that took me to Iowa in the middle of the pandemic to shoot. And I was so happy to make it back alive in one piece. So, so 10 months later, after working on this, I'm finished and, taking a little break before starting on the next project.
That's great. Well, we got you at the right time, it sounds like.
Yeah, this is the week.
Yeah. So back to the characters, or?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. Yeah, Big Dick Ricky, he's like the only success for me. I would say the other, Gabriel Iglesias, like, no, I don't like what they did there. The white guy, no, I don't like what they did there. The Armenian guy with the smoothies, like, that, I'm neutral on that. I don't got positive or negative feelings about that. Tarzan, he's the other one. He was also brought a little bit more to the table this time. My big problem is that I like Mike way, way less in this whole movie than I did in the last movie. And I hate his hat. I hate his fucking hat so much.
I think you've got a hat bias I mean, the truth is the character is a little less developed and a little less interesting. He's actually like regressed a little bit, and his goals aren't as interesting. He's just not as, for the nature of the movie is kind of just less. The stakes are lower, and everything about it is
what stakes?
Yeah, exactly. There's no stakes, and it's just less real. It's it's this heightened universe where everything's kind of campy and extreme, and but if you think of it like a musical, then it kind of makes sense. It's like the second he dances to Pony in his workshop, I was like, oh, this is a change. This is giving up the pretense of this existing in the real world, and it's existing in this like La La Land world where people might just bust out into song or dance at random places. And once you kind of buy into that, it all makes a little more sense. It's not as good, but at least it's not like completely insane.
The only thing I would say about like that dance is that I had the same reaction where I'm like, oh, they're taking it to a different level. Like this is a different type of movie, but it still wasn't like, it's not musical theater in the sense that like he's not doing that dance on the street. It was still like the kind of dance movement that you could imagine someone who is a male performer or male entertainer doing on their own if they're trying to relive what they used to do, you know? So I feel like it still felt like natural. It wasn't like, you know, larger than life dancing.
It's kind of grounded. Yeah.
Here's what I don't like about this whole like mood of this movie is you know how it relates to one of the scenes later in the movie too. You know how the yoga guy or whatever, like generic white like hippie guy who is like a Reiki healer and also whatever his other
which
thing
is
was,
stuff
right?
that I laughed at a lot. Colin didn't think it was as funny because it hit too close to home for him. He was like,
Yeah,
whoa,
okay.
this guy's a little too me.
No, but there's a problem with people like that, and they kind of brushed over it. But they're, you know, like people who are just too much good vibes only. It becomes like you don't have permission to like feel or think whatever you want to because like that interferes with their idea of good vibes. This movie, like, I feel like the screenwriter is doing that to the audience because, like, haha, like he's on Molly and he wrecked his fucking car. Haha, like they're strippers. It's cute or funny or whatever. There's no downside to this whatsoever. Haha, like, you know, like everything's fine. Good vibes only. Don't talk about their drug use. Don't talk about their careers. It has to be in a positive way. Everything is fine. Everything is great. Like,
but that's literally what they're trying to do. This is a escapist feel good like this, where the first one was like, oh, we're going to show you some of the fun aspects of being a male stripper in Tampa, and then we're going to show you all the drawbacks, and we're going to get real with these characters and put them through some shit. This one is like, hey, let's just have fun and have some dance numbers and don't think about it too hard. You know?
Drama, who needs it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's why it's almost the worst parts of this are when they actually try to inject some seriousness or drama or stakes or whatever. Then I'm like, whoa, what the fuck is Amber Heard's character even doing here? Like, can we just get to the bros on the road trip, please?
I also like the way he talks to that girl is like, oh, the problem is like I should be able to tell you to smile and you should do it. I know that's not his exact lines, but that's the vibe I was getting. And also, I hate all of his dialogue. Like, this is like the least charming I've ever seen Channing Tatum be. Every time he's talking one-on-one with that woman, it's like, please just like make this scene end, please.
Yes, every scene of every Amber Heard scene could be cut, and this movie would improve by it. And it's nothing against her; she's fine. But
between the release of the first movie and this one, Channing Tatum went and made those 21 Jump Street movies and like proved that he had comedy chops.
Yeah.
And so for this one, they were like, yeah, just, you know, say whatever you want, just
riff.
improvise, you know?
Yeah. But he's
riff,
like, he's a total dick to her. He's like, basically like mansplaining how he's actually sensitive and knows everything that she's feeling or should feel already, you know?
well, it's supposed to be like playful banter, but because she's like she's giving it back to him, like she's got sort of a confrontational attitude, but then it doesn't like there's no chemistry there. The dialogue, it's funny because this is written by the same guy who wrote the first one. It's directed by Steven Soderbergh's longtime AD, and Soderbergh shot and edited this movie. So he took a back seat, but it wasn't like he wasn't there. He was on set every fucking day. He made this movie with these people. And it's so funny how like scenes in the first movie that kind of worked somehow, like the brother-sister introduction scene that we talked about the last time, that was like expositional, but it was also kind of charming. And it also seemed kind of spontaneous. It might have been a little bit improvised, but it just kind of worked. And it's, you know, you sort of like the characters. There are so many scenes in this movie that are trying to be that and just don't work at all. Daniel, get a word in edgewise here, please.
I mean, I'm trying to like think of what was a dialogue scene that I enjoyed. Like that's where my head was going, and it's like it was really tough. Like even just going from the beginning, when they lure Mike to the pool under the pretense that there's like a wake, you know, like there's all this exposition then of like what happened to, you know, Matt McConaughey and the other people, and it's like, so you know, I usually watch movies these days with subtitles on, but because I had this version without it, I didn't, and I'm like, I can't follow any of this. Like, I don't know what you're saying. Something about somebody went to McCall. Like, I don't remember what's going on. But yeah, I mean, I didn't any scene with dialogue could have been cut, except I did kind of like when he went to that like mansion that was like a sorority where, you know, his old friend Jada Pinkett Smith was living.
Oh,
I feel
that scene?
I feel like that dialogue could pass. Like, I feel like there's still like, who are these people? Why are we going here?
Yeah.
But I liked her a lot more than I liked Amber Heard.
I'm confused about
there.
that scene. Like, is this based on any kind of a real place of any kind? Like, in any way?
Like the black stripper plantation? Probably not. I'm gonna guess no. I was uncomfortable watching that, and yeah, honestly, this movie has like for a section of the movie that should have worked, because you got Donald Glover singing his ass off, and being sort of effortlessly charismatic in that way that so few actors are in this movie. Because even with what Daniel said, I agree with Daniel that Joe Manganiello was better in this movie. This is the kind of, I've criticized him before for not being very good. This is the kind of role that he can play, and he was passable in it. But like, other than Channing Tatum and Donald Glover, I don't know that there's a lot going on in terms of people that I like watching in general in this movie. Yeah. But Donald Glover, just with a few brief lines, was like, oh, he's really good. They've got the guy who's like the black Channing Tatum dancer in this, that does a great dance in that scene, and they've got a Michael Strahan cameo, and they got Jada Pinkett Smith, who, you know, she's sometimes good, sometimes bad. I don't think this is one of her best roles, but I thought she was fine. And somehow that entire sequence for me felt like it took hours, and I was not there for it at all.
The timeline of the movie also gets confusing at that point to me, because like no other scenes take place at daytime until they get to Myrtle Beach, and so it's like, did we skip a day that like the sun never came up, or what's going on?
Yeah, no,
forever night.
The time frame of the journey and was very confusing.
Yeah, it also takes them like several days to get what is really like, I think, a 10-hour drive maybe. But
yeah.
I did want to say too that, you know, you mentioned the lack of stakes in this movie, but I did feel like with Joe Manganiello, you know, the fact that he wasn't able to have sex, you know, because of his, you know, large, you know, penis. I mean, not only does that give like, you know, this audience demographic something to like salivate over and be like, please, like, let me, you know, take your troubles away. But then like when they get to that, you know, mom's house, and it's just like everyone knows exactly what's about to happen, and we're just like, you know, waiting for that. And I feel like he carried. I feel like having that as his stakes and like what he was trying to get helped the movie so much.
He gave it some emotional weight. It wasn't just like, haha, my dick's too big. You know?
Yeah, he seems to really be struggling.
My dick's too big, and I'm sad about it.
Yeah, I felt it.
Well,
I was like,
I like
you felt the size of his dick and how much it was weighing on him.
You felt it.
Colin felt it.
It came right through the screen.
That's the next one, Magic Mike 3D. I like that they kind of set up that, I think they did this, that every character, you know, like this is their big last dance. They're doing this one more time for fun, and then after that they're all gonna like pursue what they're really meant to do with their lives. Like the one guy has the food truck thing. Mike is gonna keep going with his furniture business. And then, really, I think all they set up for Big Dick Richie is that he just needs to find that glass slipper for his big dick, right?
Yeah.
And so he finds her, and that's it. He's just like, he's set.
They made it like he needs an actual mate, kind of like, you know, like he's banged like a lot of women, and he needs like a relationship type of deal. They do kind of go that direction with it.
What's weird though is that they kind of don't really commit to any of the, like, it's almost like lip service. Like they have to. I was wondering the first time I watched this, why do they keep on showing cutaways to Matt Bomer when Magic Mike shows up everywhere? You know, like, what is that all about? And it's because he's mad that Magic Mike left, and they're trying to build up this like rivalry between them, or
wasn't he
whatever.
not in the first movie though?
Okay, so I had the exact same issue. the guy, the the generic white guy, who's the guru or whatever.
Ken doll guy.
So that's
Ken
Matt,
doll.
Matt Bomer, and I had to figure it out. I'm like, was he in the first one? I'm like, wait, was he
Yeah,
the
he
same?
was.
Was he the
He
same
was?
guy? No, yeah. So he,
Oh, I
so
still didn't know.
He's the Ken doll / doctor.
You know this scene where like he's like in bed with his wife, and then
with the fake
kid,
boobs.
The kid comes in, and they like offer. And
Yep.
she's like, "Oh, touch my boobs," and he's like, "Are you okay
Yeah.
with it?" So that's the guy, but he looks so different. I had the same disconnect between the movies.
Oh, that's that guy?
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah, and where's his wife in this one?
This
He
is so
never
weird
even
because,
mentioned her.
they talk about how his wife left him. They tried monogamy and it didn't work for her. But
Oh, yeah, you're right.
But
That's-
like,
that was the
I think
photo.
it's so weird because I think Matt Bomer looks exactly the same everywhere he ever is for his entire life. Like, it doesn't matter if it's White Collar or Magic Mike or
I think he
every
looks
other.
better. I think he looks the same now. You're totally right. But I think in the first movie he was just young. Like that was the difference. Like I feel like I hadn't seen him that young. And so
Yeah,
in
he was a
Magic
little
Mike,
baby-faced.
when I watched that one, I was like, oh, I didn't even know that was Matt Bomer. And then now I'm like, oh, that's him.
And he's a decent actor. They don't give him a lot to I don't think he's giving him more material in this movie hurt, but they didn't give him a character that was like his whole conflict was that he was mad at Mike for leaving and he was trying to, be more spiritual or whatever, and it just just didn't work. It was all like sort of misshapen, sort of how like Big Dick Ritchie, they've got like the magic slipper or the glass slipper thing, but then they also have he's lost his swagger and he needs to remember what it's like to seduce a woman or whatever, which is what it makes the whole gas station scene go. But that's just kind of tacked on as an excuse to have the gas station scene. It's not really about what and I did like the overarching idea that Dallas had picked all their costumes and routines, and now they were going to select songs that were personal to them and fantasies that meant something to them. And I think that was interesting. It didn't always work, but I thought that was a good angle. Yeah.
I would have liked to have
For
seen
me-
one of them like was worse at that. Like just like the content of his own fantasies actually was just really bankrupt of anything
Way too dark.
worthwhile. Oh yeah, way too dark.
It's like, no, you can't cook and eat the girl on stage. Sorry, that would be the Army Hammer angle.
Oh my god.
For me, it was the curly-haired actor. I didn't recognize him from the first
Tito?
movie. I was like,
Yeah, Tito,
Yeah,
because
I
of the
was
curly
like,
hair.
I don't remember this guy being, or maybe it's a different actor. But then I
No,
realized
same
it's the
actor.
same guy.
Yeah.
He just has longer hair now. In the first movie, he had like a buzz cut or something.
Yeah. They could have done a
but
better
yeah,
job connecting reminding us the characters were
Right,
somehow.
but their characters are so
Yeah.
shallow in the first one. It's
Yeah,
almost
exactly.
like
That's the problem.
we didn't know them, so this is the movie that kind of builds them out. But what that builds them out to is not that interesting. So
Yeah,
That was
exactly.
another-
It makes you miss Matthew McConaughey and
Yeah.
the other
Yeah.
kid from the movie.
That's the other reason why I think Mike's character suffers is because the whole time he's playing it like he had like really involved relationships with these people, and Magic Mike 1 did not show us that. Maybe he did, but Magic Mike 1 did not show us
Well,
that.
I would assume, like, if you go back to the scene where he introduces the kid to everyone in the dressing room, they have a like camaraderie that is pretty like they don't devote any screen time or any script time to it, but they do it in the execution. They imply that Magic Mike's been working there for 6 years, and these guys are all sort of long haulers in this business, and they know each other really well, and there's like a banter and a comfortableness with them that you get that they're close, but the script doesn't. That movie isn't about these strippers and their relationships with each other. It's about Magic Mike. It's mostly about Magic Mike and Matthew McConaughey and the kid and the girl, and then this one is about these guys broing out, but they're implying a lot of stuff from the first movie that you just sort of had to infer. It wasn't actually there,
I think that made Channing's role worse because he had to do like a bunch of work on that end,
Yeah, no, it's because once again, he's not acting across from anything of substance, like it's tough because like there are no stakes to any of his scenes. What's even the point of this entire movie? It's
Yeah, there's something to what you're saying, Colin. Like in the first movie, he's sort of like up here. He's Magic Mike. Everyone thinks he's the greatest, and he's like oozing confidence, And then in this one, they drop him down to the bottom, and he's like kind of sucking up, like trying to like get back in with these guys. And like I'm watching the scene right now where the one guy throws his phone out the window, which is like a horrible scene.
Yes.
First of all, like stuff like that just doesn't happen in real life, and if it does, that's a horrible friend, and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
That was like $1,000 phone.
Yeah, it's over $1,000.
Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, there's something to, and then plus, like, I don't know if you guys felt it, but like I know I've said it twice already, but like the scenes do feel like really improvisational to the point where like the dialogue is painful. It's like cringeworthy stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think it's that plus the character change is like, yeah, I agree with you, Colin, that I thought Mike was like a less cool, less watchable character than he was in the first movie.
I also think the whole Dallas relation, like what Dallas was to the rest of them, it was like such a big overbearing force in their lives that like how were they like such close bros? Like how did they have so much love for each other and so much like time for each other when it was such a big point that they were all kind of getting exploited and controlled by Dallas, and that was such a big heavy thing weighing on them. Like yeah, maybe that like allowed them to band together more, but that's not, again, that's like not what we saw in Magic Mike 1. You know, we saw
I do think there's some consistency there with here, and only in that I think that, you know, the scene where he throws the phone out the window. No, is it that scene, or no? It's the one where they do the drugs, and then Joe Manganiello is totally opposed to changing their routines, and then they cut to 20 minutes later, and he's like.
54.
Yeah, right. But I like that scene. I like that cut. I think that works. But it's more like they didn't realize how domineering Dallas was in the first movie. They were just having a good time partying, doing drugs, making a lot of money, banging chicks. And like this movie is where Magic Mike sort of forces this revelation on them of like, you haven't been your own man. I left and did this other thing, and like now you can kind of, you don't even understand how much he controlled everything that you were. So, I mean, that is kind of, if there is a conflict in this movie, that's it. The idea that these people are outgrowing the stripper lifestyle, or at least the Dallas-driven stripper lifestyle. It's not really well executed, but, I think it's consistent at least.
That whole part of it, like, I thought they handled it so well in the first one, the way they handled, like, drug abuse as part of their lifestyle is, like... Yeah, it does add to like them having fun times, and they don't just like stigmatize drug use in general. They like stigmatize the way you do it. Like the kid runs into trouble because he's being irresponsible with his life and stuff like that. But again, that was some serious shit that happened. That kid almost got fucking murdered. And goons like fucking took $13,000 or whatever off of
goons. Hired goons.
Yeah, like that was some serious shit. And then in this one, Gabriel Iglesias is like, yeah, let's all still do Molly. And like, just the whole mood of this movie is just like, there is no downside to anything, nothing bad about this at all. Like, it's all going to be fun, except that he crashes the car, which is like a silly thing. I almost felt like Dan Aykroyd was going to show up. Yeah. It's going to be like the Great Outdoors or some shit.
That was just so they'd have to go to the Jada Pinkett Smith plantation. So yeah, it's all just low stakes. Everyone have fun, good time movie. I do think that Soderbergh, the DP, was very good in this movie, and Soderbergh, the editor, probably could have done a little more cutting.
We have a question plot-wise. So you said that the crash was to get to the plantation, but didn't he also need to ask her a favor about helping with the convention?
Yeah, but both those things come from the crash. They need a ride there, and they also need somebody to MC because Fluffy can't MC anymore.
Oh, okay. I lost. It was lost in translation for that part.
What's up, my homies? I'm back again by popular demand. If you didn't listen to me last time, listen to me now. My message is the same. Join the license to watch Patreon. It's only $1 a month. For that low price, you get a ton of exclusive content, like bonus episodes about non-franchise movies, such as Showgirls, Mortal Kombat, Enter the Dragon, The Running Man, Zack Snyder's Justice League, and many, many more. Just go to www.patreon.com/L2W to subscribe today. I came here to get you to subscribe and drink milk. And I'm all out of milk. Do it now!
maybe we should go over the plot.
But
Yeah, let's go over
Oh
the
yeah,
plot.
let's do it.
40 minutes into this podcast.
Who does it?
It's me again.
Oh wait, I'm gonna turn on another
I'm
light.
terrible at
Go.
these.
You start. I'll be right back.
You ready, Matt?
I'm gonna create a new bit because I'm so bad at this.
You should just get better at it. This one should be easy. It's literally guys drive 2 states away to go to
Yeah,
a stripper
it's very
convention
vignette-y.
and then strip. Yeah. Okay, you ready?
As long as you don't connect it to the first movie, I feel like it would be easy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Don't even mention any of this shit from the
Yeah.
first movie. All right, you ready?
Yep.
All right, go.
All right, so the movie starts off. We see Mike. He's doing his furniture business. He's having a grand old time. He gets a phone call from Tarzan saying that Dallas from the first movie is dead. So he goes to what he thinks is the wake, and it ends up being a hotel party. And he meets the guys, all the dancers from the first movie, and they tell him Dallas isn't dead. He just went to Macau with the kid from the first movie. They want him to join up with them for one last big hurrah at this convention up in where is it? Oh, Myrtle Beach. And so he goes, right? So they get in a food truck, and Fluffy's driving them in the food truck, and they do some Molly or whatever, and they get to a car accident.
Drag club first.
Oh, the drag club? Yeah, so they go to a drag club. Does
That's
something
it. That's all.
happen there of significance? Yeah, that's it. What the fuck? You're throwing me off.
Oh man, sabotage.
Well, he meets Amber
So,
Heard.
add 10 more seconds to the clock. So yeah, they go to a party on a beach, and he meets Amber Heard in a very darkly lit scene at night.
So dark.
She takes photos of him while he's peeing, which is kind of weird. So then, after the car accident that I mentioned previously in my summary, they need a place to stay, and they need someone to fill in for Fluffy. So they go to this mansion, this plantation in Georgia somewhere that is like a black strip club, fantasy island thing come to life. And they meet, I always want to say Halle Berry, but it's not. It's Jada Pinkett Smith. And a colorful cast of other cameos. Michael Strahan shows up for a second. Oh God. And so then she keeps saying that he has something to ask her, and he doesn't really ask her, but then we know he does have something to ask her. Yeah. Oh, I need some more time. I got
Why are
sabotaged.
you getting
here.
into this? Why are you getting into so many details? Plantation, rich lady's house, stripper convention. The end.
Yeah, that's it. That's pretty much it. That's the end. And they have an epic dance to Nine Inch Nails Closer at the end, and some song about Oreos. Great. And that's it.
That was actually pretty good. Too much detail. None of it's important. It's all just bullshit, on the way to
It's all about the details.
the next thing.
But like, if you're like, let's say you're doing a focus group after the first Magic Mike, and you're like, what did you like about it? What would you want in the sequel to this? Like, as you guys are reviewing sequels right now, and like especially movies that only have first and second film, it's like there's different ways you can go about it, right? Like, why do you want to continue it where the plot left off? Like, it kind of makes sense they just completely ignored his relationship to that woman who was like a terrible actress. Matthew McConaughey.
Shots fired.
They could have kept Matt McConaughey. I feel like he probably just didn't want to do it. But
Well, he had won an Oscar in the interim, and
Dallas.
basically that bumped up his asking price, and apparently his agents were like, no, you can't make exceptions to this. Your asking price is what it is, and so they couldn't afford him.
Right. But don't you think there's a certain level of like they took notes on like what people want, and like we've been saying, it's like they just want the fun, they want the happy, like they want the sex. But in a weird way, it's like as much as we got it, these guys are like getting older. Sadly, it's like I wasn't that attracted to them. Like the dancing was fun and I enjoyed the dancing, but like the actual like sexuality of it, I was like not. I wouldn't say I was very turned on by.
Well, what were your feelings on the first one? Because that's I don't know. We talked about this a lot in when we did the first Magic Mike, but like, is the point of a male stripper to actually arouse people that much? Because a lot of it is just kind of the campiness of the, like at least from male strippers that are appealing to a female audience. is definitely just, kind of about the campiness of the performance and, kind of the having fun and sort of being embarrassed in front of your girlfriends. There's like that element to it is pretty important.
I think there is supposed to be a big arousal aspect to it.
Okay.
And like almost, especially when the men are dancing with the women in the audience, it's like, it's basically they're fucking them. Like, I don't know if I'm allowed to curse on this program, but
yes, you are.
Actually, Daniel, you are
encouraged
to curse in this program.
I mean,
yeah, it's dry humping. But,
they're literally like showing these women how they will fuck them, and if you look at the different women, like they cast these extras that get like basically danced and fucked on. They cast them to not choose like the hottest ones. Like they want people in the audience to associate and be like, wow, like a guy would do that to me even though I'm large or unattractive or something.
As long as getting lifted and thrown around isn't part of the dance routine, they're mostly big girls, which is great. I think it makes sense.
Strahan picks that girl up though.
Strahan. Well, let's talk about the Strahan cameo, because I thought it was interesting that me and Colin both saw this movie and weren't sure if it was Michael Strahan or not. And then Matt was like, how could you not know that that's Michael Strahan? And my only defense, because I know what Michael Strahan looks like, and as soon as I saw that guy, I was like, that stripper looks exactly like Michael Strahan. Like, it's uncanny. And my only defense is...
But Michael Strahan would never do a movie like this.
Well, yeah, that, but also, this is like 8 years into Michael Strahan's retirement. I just didn't think he'd be in that good shape at that point in his career and life. He looks great, he looks like playing weight,
I think he's actually gotten thinner. I think
right.
When you're playing football, you go for a different kind of a weight, and like, so once he dropped the extra, he like was cut up.
You're absolutely right, Colin. That's totally true.
Yeah.
Every pro football player who plays anything but a quarterback or like any linebacker like Strahan or any of those big power positions, those guys are beefed up like beyond reason. Their weight does not match their frame in their playing career. And then when they leave, they get slim, but like I feel like they don't always stay in that good shape. But you're right, he got thin and shredded, and just I just didn't believe that was him 8 years after retiring from football.
Well, like, muscle weighs more than fat, but if you're a professional football player, you want both because you just want to weigh as much as fucking
You just need
possible.
to weight, yeah,
because it helps you.
Yep. But yeah, apparently he saw the first movie and was like, if you guys do a sequel, I'm in. So
really?
Yeah.
That's what you read?
Yeah.
I didn't read any trivia for this movie, so I don't. If you have any, nuggets of wisdom that you want to,
that might
let
be
us
it.
know about.
I don't have like trivia, but I did read a little bit of the drama with the kid and why the kid wasn't in the sequel.
Oh yeah, tell us about
I
that.
read that when I read about the first movie.
I don't obviously I actually did not get to read both sides of the story, but there's definitely some drama between Channing Tatum and the kid. And the kid, in an interview, talked to the actor who played the kid, Alex, said that
Pettifer.
Yes, so apparently he had like a really bad reputation with some people, which got to Channing Tatum, and so like he claims he tried during the filming of Magic Mike to he avoided talking. This is what he claims. He's like, I avoided talking so I wouldn't rub people the wrong way, but that rubbed people the wrong way because they thought that I was like full of myself. So I think honestly, but then he goes into talking about how he was staying at Channing Tatum's friend's house and got an allergy, and so he left, and they still wanted him to pay, and he didn't. So it's like I feel like Alex is in the wrong here. Like he tried to talk himself out of it, but I think he sounds like an asshole.
Well, you can sort of see how from it's entirely possible this is just some miscommunication. And honestly, on-set relationships are always kind of complicated because you're trapped with these people that you have to work with, and you have to be friends with them or get along with them at least, and you're in close quarters for a long period of time, and it is not uncommon for two otherwise perfectly nice people to just fucking hate each other after 2 months of shooting or whatever. So I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. Also, it's hard, though, because he played a real douche in the first movie, and it's hard not to just think that that's what he is.
He was in character.
Yeah, I can buy that he's got a British accent in real life, but it's harder for me to buy that he's not a douche in real life for some reason, which isn't fair at all, but, is just the way it is. So,
Daniel, going back to what you were saying something similar earlier about, why was this movie made and like what was the purpose from a franchise perspective, like, and more so than any other version of this, I feel like this movie is 100% a fan service movie made for fun. They had no intention of like even making money, really. I mean, of course that's always there and like they want to make money, but like I don't think they expected this movie to be as big of a hit as the first movie, and I'm not sure if it was or if it exceeded the amount of money.
I think it was similar. It was a similar budget and a similar return. It was another, big return on a small budget.
But I think the first movie, had a huge buzz about it, and it was a big like female like let's go out and see this movie together kind of thing. And I think even though it was a good movie, I think it was not truly what people, and especially women, like expected from the movie. It wasn't this movie.
It delivered the things they expected, just in a slightly different package. That
Yes.
I don't know. It depends. I mean, for instance,
but there's more dancing in this. There's more of a show aspect, whereas like in the first movie, you just see like little glimpses of like each character has like their one little like dance that you see.
Yeah.
And it's really about Magic Mike dancing to Pony or whatever,
My girlfriend hated this movie and liked the first one. And she's not
Wow.
into like highbrow movies. So that's,
I mean, I watched this with Colleen and she was like giggling throughout the whole thing and like clearly like getting the reaction that I think most women get when they watch this sort of thing is like it's embarrassing but also funny and like kind of a turn on. And so it's like that combination of things is going on.
The performances are great. Like the actual dance numbers are all really good. And,
better than I think most of them are better than the first movie.
That's how I felt. In a weird way, as much as I liked the finale dancing at the convention, I felt like it was my least favorite part of it, because it felt like everything's leading up to this. What's gonna happen? And it was just like, it's just performances. It's not. Yeah. There's no conflict.
There's no drama. There's no stakes. There's no. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Did they win?
Nothing went wrong.
What like it's not the big game. It doesn't. None of it matters.
You know what? Weirdly, I thought a lot about another two-part franchise. Actually, now that I think of, is the Harold and Kumar movies. And the reason is like the way this
There's three of them.
I was going to say the Christmas special.
Oh, fuck. All right. Well,
there goes
that. Was and that's the last mistake I'm allowed to make. So
Colin,
goodbye,
are you just going to stop now, or are you going to continue making your
I'm
point?
Done.
Is your point totally
irrelevant? That's my third strike. No. No. I mean, my point's still relevant. No, it's written as if Harold and Kumar is like we're gonna make the stoner lifestyle into like a funny comedy, and there's other movies like that, like stoner lifestyle funny comedy. This is like male stripper lifestyle funny comedy, and like it's like almost to that point, and like similar to Harold and Kumar, like in the second Harold and Kumar, they get put in Guantanamo and they just like break out, and like it's like they meet George W. Bush and all this stuff. There's no stakes whatsoever. Like we know it's going to work out for Harold and Kumar, and like the seriously bad things that could happen to them if they were actually like, charged with federal crimes and like victims of racial discrimination, etc., are all like laughed off and stuff like that. And that's what I think of when I see the direction this is going. And like at times I'm like, this is fun and funny, and at other times I'm like, it's also like, I don't know what the fuck I'm watching, like, is there really
I think the difference
is a male stripper's lifestyle, like how fun is it? I feel like it varies a lot between each male stripper.
Well, the difference is I think Harold and Kumar started off as a comedy and ended as a comedy. And this one started off as the first movie was a drama. It had funny moments, but it was a drama, and it was taken very seriously. And this one is definitely not in that same world. They shifted worlds, and they to Matt's point. First of all, there was a lot of money to be had here because the first one was a surprise hit, and they were like, "Oh wait, so we can make a super cheap stripper movie, and it'll make hundreds of millions of dollars? Okay, let's do that again." Then we didn't even know that was a possibility. But I do think they had different goals. And it's probably like people who work with Soderbergh tend to work with him again. I have a feeling his sets are pretty fun, even though he's obviously a pretty particular guy. I imagine, I don't think he's like super laid back, but he seems like a regular dude who probably respects the work that people are doing. And I think if everyone's enjoying themselves, I think it could be a fun set to work on. It seems like people don't usually, people who work with him once work with him multiple times. So I imagine the idea of, hey, let's get the whole gang back together. This was a really fun shoot we did a few years ago. Let's run it back and everyone makes some money and we can have a good time. And Matthew McConaughey was too expensive and Alex Pettyfer didn't get along with the star. And everyone else came back and just ran it back, which makes sense, you know? It's why leave the money on the table? In fact, I'm kind of surprised they didn't do a third one.
I also think the stagecraft, the cinematography, the lighting, those three things are all really way more interesting than the story is by so much. You know, like it's a weird dichotomy.
Yeah, I think they put the priority, like Matt said. I think they kind of knew what their audience was in this one, and was like, hey, we made our deep stripper movie. I think it's part of the reason Soderbergh probably didn't direct this, is he didn't want the fluff, fun, lightweight stripper movie on his resume. You know, he'll shoot it and he'll edit it. He wanted to be a part of it. He wanted to hang out with the guys, but he didn't want this to be a Soderbergh movie because it really isn't in any way. You know?
I don't think so. I think much like this movie is a fan service movie for the fans, I think it was also like it's an opportunity for him to like give some like his longtime AD to like direct a movie. You know, he's like, hey man, I'll be right there. I'll be the DP.
Might be a little of both.
Like, you know,
might be a little of both.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely. I mean, he clearly wanted to be a part of this movie.
This brings me to my next point. Do you think there is an alternate dimension in which there is a great director who is also somehow a soda bottle called Steven Soderbergh?
So stupid.
No.
Daniel, do you have any thoughts on that?
Daniel, you're not obligated to have thoughts on that.
Sorry, you froze. I didn't hear anything.
Oh, no!
That is for the best. Absolutely for the best.
Just kidding.
That makes perfect sense to me. That was the right answer.
Hey, let's get back to one. I'm fizzing over here. He's just a giant soda bottle.
This is going to be your bubbliest movie yet.
Matt, don't turn it into a thing. Don't play along with this one. This isn't good enough.
Soderbergh.
This isn't like James Sandwich. This doesn't work.
Steven Soderbergh and James Sandwich.
Hey,
Oh my God.
It would be great if Steven Soderbergh directed the next James Sandwich movie.
That sounds like an amazing picture to me.
What an alternate reality to live in. Okay, so let's get down to it. This is an important question. Stripper names. I've got a complaint. Colin came up with a bunch of great stripper names for. Didn't do Daniel for some reason. Yeah,
I did do Daniel. It just took me a minute.
What was the Daniel?
He's going to be Dan the Man, and he has to always wear a T-shirt that has the man with an arrow pointing to his face and the legend pointing to his crotch. And then he has to get it tattooed on his body as well, so that anytime you see him, his entire upper body always says the man, the legend. And then he's Dan the Man.
I kind of get that. Yeah, so Dan the Man is very similar to Magic Mike in a way. What were your other ones?
The Babe McCabe, the Long Dick of the Shaw, and Peanut M&Ms.
Okay, so now I like these. I think they're all very clever. Yeah. In fact, I think they're too clever because if you look at the actual strippers in this movie, they all have dumb, short nicknames. You know that if Matt was Peanut M&M, which is very funny, they would eventually just be calling him Peanut, and they would never mention M&M, and his name would just be Peanut.
Right.
I like Babe McCabe, but that is just, frankly, I don't know about using a last name, but also it would just be Babe. Yeah, it would just be Babe.
You know,
or the Babe.
Or the Babe. McBabe.
Right. You know
McBabe.
I actually like McBabe. I'm changing.
McBabe.
I'm taking it all back.
Yeah.
McBabe is a good stripper name.
That's good.
Like it's not that smart, but it's catchy.
You know where it comes from
flows.
is the Texas Rangers back when I was young used to have a guy named Gabe Kapler, and he was very attractive with the junior high and high school ladies back in the day, and they used to call him Gabe the Babe.
And he was also like the most handsome and ripped Jewish guy I have ever seen.
Oh, so you're familiar with Gabe
Oh,
Kapler?
Gabe Kapler, longtime Red Sox, longtime
That guy-
utility player.
Oh, that's right. He did go to the Sox after
That's
that.
right.
That's right.
Not to be confused with Gabe Kaplan of Welcome Back, Kotter. fame,
Yes,
who was
also
Gabe
a
the
very handsome and ripped Jew.
Yes.
Babe.
We should do a bonus episode about sexy Jewish men.
Most attractive Jewish men ever.
Or just Gabe's. I don't know.
Best looking Gabes. I don't know. It could be either
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, whatever.
All right. Well, I
What
take
were
it
we
back. I
talking
actually
about?
think that we've turned all of Colin's stripper names into pretty good, accurate stripper names. It would just be Peanut, McBabe, Dan the Man, and then you are allowed to have one ridiculous, over the top one. So that can be.
Long Dick of the Shaw. That could be an acronym, right? Like LDS. Isn't that? That's bad.
I think that is
LDS
that
letter
acronym exists.
And wait, isn't LDS what Captain Kirk said that Leonard Nimoy was high on in Voyage Home?
Yes, it is. It is.
all coming
Too much
back around.
LDS in the
All coming
60s.
together.
He's done a little too much LDS. You know?
All right, so the second question is, because this also comes up in this movie, and this is Daniel's point, is we need drag queen names. What's your drag queen name?
Oh, this is difficult. I'm not as I don't think I have the skill
So
set.
a drag queen name is just like it's like a dirty name, basically, right?
Yeah, it's
or
usually,
it's nice if there's like a pun involved or like a name that sounds like something else. So like my drag queen name that I've had for a while, which I feel like it maybe hasn't aged well, but like is like Rhonda Whirl, like round the world. It just like it doesn't even need to be sexual. Like it can be sexual, but it's also kind of can be something that
It's gotta be
sounds
clever.
like something else. Yeah.
yeah. Mine is gonna be Aurora Lonely, because if you say it fast enough, it sounds like oral only.
Oral only or
Yeah.
orally lonely.
Yeah, either one.
Okay. I feel like this is one of those things that I've done before on like one of those name generators where it's like put your childhood dog's first name
Don't
and now the
confuse
street you
it-
grew up on.
Yeah, no,
Or
don't
That's your porn-
confuse
that's
it with
your
your
porn star
Wu-Tang
name.
name.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't confuse it with your Wu-Tang name. If you've done the Wu-Tang name generator, don't get up on stage using your Wu-Tang name as your drag queen name. It will not. They don't cross.
Wait, how do
over.
you do Wu-Tang name? Maybe mine does cross over. Maybe mine's the first one.
I think there's like an online Wu-Tang name generator.
All right, Matt, what's your drag name?
Oh, don't come to me. I have nothing.
Just go with.
I'm trying to think of.
I always thought Vera Wang was a pretty good drag queen name,
Just
even though
as
it's
it is.
an actual
That's a real
person's
person.
name.
Oh, what about
Just spell it different.
what about Pat Starr, like Patrick Starr, but Pat, so that it's like more gender ambiguous or something? That's not good, right?
I feel like it'd be like something more like Pat my star, or like so I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, more suggestive.
Yeah.
Fuck, that's not a good one. I'm gonna keep working on this. We're going back to the drawing board here.
Yeah, this is you guys.
What about like Wilford Quimley?
Well,
Perfect.
It's the Simpsons
Quim?
character.
Do you guys know what Quim is?
I know what Quim is. But that's a man's name.
Like, yeah, but you wear like a mustache, like a big like mustache, like
But
him.
that would be a
Oh,
good.
yeah, okay.
That would be a good drag king name. I think that would be a real winner
Yeah.
for a drag king contest.
Yeah, agreed.
Oh, so it has to be a woman's name?
Yeah, I mean it has
You're
to
a
be
queen, man.
It has to suggest something about what's going on, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, hold on.
You could be Candy Barr, spelled like Roseanne, Barr.
Yeah.
Who?
That's gotta be
me or
taken.
Matt.
Either one. Of
Yeah,
them.
that has to be taken. That sounds like
I'm
a
sure
real...
I'm sure that's a real drag queen name. Or
I don't think they get copywritten. I think it's okay if you like
you can steal them.
you could use
Oh, I
it.
bet there's a good story there of like two drag queens like trying to go for the same name and like there's
Yeah.
intrigue. One ends up
They have to
dead.
battle it
There's
out.
like a
Yeah,
it could be a noir. It could be a noir.
Yeah, drag queen noir.
Yes. Ooh, noir. That should be in my drag queen name.
Ooh, that
Noir
could be.
something.
Yeah, that's nice.
Something noir.
It's suggestive. I'm watching the scene where Donald Glover sings to the girl Caroline. Where are we rating this song? I like Donald Glover. I like the confidence of his performance. I don't like the song, and I don't think he's given a lot to work with in this movie.
All right, here I'm gonna give my hot take on Donald Glover. I think he's a good singer, good rapper. I don't think he's a good actor.
What?
There's something about him. He has a quality.
Have you watched Atlanta?
I know, really.
No, I haven't watched Atlanta, so I don't know. I can't speak to his dramatic abilities.
What else
Just
is he acting
watch one
in? That's
episode of
almost
Atlanta.
that's almost the
I'll
entirety
say
of his
this:
acting career.
I don't think he's a good comedic actor. I've only ever really seen him in like
Community?
funny stuff. Yeah,
Okay.
Community. He's just like puts it on too much. Like I don't know if I could say this the right way, but there's a friend of mine from high school who was like in all the school plays and stuff, and he does the same like acting style, and Donald Glover just reminds me of him. And it's like fake is the best way that I could put it. Like I don't buy his performance. It's too like hammy or like too like big in the face
I
expressions
mean, I assumed
or something.
that,
like
I haven't watched a lot of Community, but I assumed that was what they were going for, because why else would you hire Chevy Chase in all of his late career eye-bugging glory?
Right.
Yeah, but there's something different. Chevy Chase is a little more like, even though, yeah, maybe he does do eye buggy stuff, like you buy him. That's why he's Chevy Chase. You know, he's like made it.
I don't buy any Chevy
despite
Chase after like from Vegas Vacation on. I don't buy any of that. That's like where he's like he's in full ham-bone mode for the rest of his career. But okay,
well,
you got to watch Atlanta, because clearly this is a comedy issue and not an acting issue.
I've seen.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Like he's in Spider-Man: Homecoming. He's in like one scene, like when he's trying to be tough or whatever.
He's in a scene. I don't even know why that scene's in that movie.
Isn't that animated?
I know, but there's just something about
Spideyverse. Sorry.
him that just irks me. I don't know why, but his music is great. I'll give him that.
I've seen multiple episodes of Atlanta, and as much as like he's good, he is not the standout of Atlanta to me.
Well, it's Lakeith
the other
Stanfield.
guy,
Or
Lakeith Stanfield.
Paperboy is also very good.
I also like Paperboy.
Yeah.
They're both great.
Well,
Lakeith
no,
is the standout
I
to
mean,
me.
that's-
Paperboy is likable.
Honestly, that's why that show's so good, because it's got just a bunch of good actors playing really good parts. It's it's just a good show. But I think Donald Glover is actually, I think, a pretty charismatic, good actor. But I get what you're saying. I liked him in that there was a movie that he did where they were like young detectives. Like from,
Mystery Team.
Mystery Team, yeah. That was actually that was not a bad movie. That was pretty funny, and I liked him in it. But I get what you're saying. Even in that, he's kind of like, it's very hammy. It's his comedy acting.
It's fine because of the quality of that movie, like what
Right,
it is. It's
right.
like a goofy, like silly comedy.
Totally.
But yeah, go back and watch him. Like there's just something about his performance. He's like too, like over. It's like too much, you know. Like I can't.
He's better when it's like a naturalistic thing, which I think Atlanta usually is, and which this is a little bit. But yeah, I could watch Donald Glover in a lot of stuff. I think he's pretty good.
Sure, I don't think he's terrible. I feel
like his performance in Atlanta, a lot of it's like very subtle comedy. So you're right. Like something like this, it's just like, so it's supposed to be big and campy. It's like maybe he's trying to match it, but he doesn't. Like Matt's saying, like maybe that's not. He can't act that way. Like he doesn't know how.
It's just a style choice, It's like not my preferred cup of tea in terms of like acting style, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, some people think Daniel said that the girl from the first movie was a bad actress, but I thought she was fine, But like maybe she is a bad actress. I don't know, but maybe I'm just like in love with her. Or
She
something.
was maybe she was fine, but you could tell I thought, like I said, I thought they were cutting around her a little bit. I don't think she's that strong. Whereas Daniel Glover, I kind of buy it, and like Amber Heard in this movie,
You mean
I've never
Glover?
I have never seen Amber Heard in anything that I was like, wow, what a great actress. At the same time, I don't think that she's not capable of a great performance, because I feel like when I see her in things, it's not like I'm not totally out. I'm not like, oh, I'm not buying any of this. She's fine. And so I think that in the right role, she could be much better.
I got a couple things to say about this. I don't understand why Donald didn't pursue his natural talent of making mittens as a Glover. And also, I've never seen Amber Heard either. I've always just heard.
Wow.
Thank you for weighing in, Colin. That'll be enough out of you for like
Thanks
10
for
minutes.
derailing us to our next topic.
Those are last name puns by yours truly, Colin Shaw.
That's what you're here for, I guess.
It's like Andy McDowell is in this movie. Andy McDowell, who's great in Groundhog Day.
Yes.
She's great in. Isn't she in Sex, Lies, and Videotape?
Sex, Lies, and Videotape. She's great in
St. Elmo's Fire.
Shortcuts, 4 Weddings and a Funeral. She's good in a lot of things.
Yes.
Terrible in this.
Yeah, terrible in this.
Right?
Yep. I agree.
Like,
I agree.
So,
Her whole scene is confusing because she's kind of going a little over the top, but maybe not way too over the top for an audience, but she's not on the same level as everyone else in the room, and there's a lot of people in that room.
Agreed.
And they're all on a different level.
Yeah.
They're like of how much they're like, what kind
She's
of
horned
performance
up.
they're going to.
Yeah.
so I have a plot question, actually, about this Andy McDowell scene. When Amber Heard's character pops back up.
Yeah.
Did I miss something? Did he know to go there because she would be there, or it's just
No.
I know.
happenstance? and
I
It was like
coincidence?
her friend.
Colin,
I know
wait.
this.
Yeah, Colin, explain this.
Okay. So you know how way back in the beginning when they like camped out on the beach and Big Dick
I thought you were going
Ricky
to take us back to like Genesis, like way back in the. You remember how God created man?
in the beginning of time.
You
you
got
know,
the phone number
the
written
phone
on him?
number written on him. That was the phone number of a girl that knew her because that was at the same party. That turned out to be related to Andy McDowell, and so she was connected to them by way of
Got
those
it.
friends.
Andy
they-
McDowell's daughter was friends with a girl, the blonde girl, and also Amber Heard. And you see them at the end together in the with the fireworks and the boardwalk. The mysterious fireworks that apparently they couldn't afford stock footage of fireworks, so all you see is flashing lights in their faces. I was like, what the fuck is
I thought
this?
that too.
But Colin, did I miss it? Like I remember when he has the number written on his hand, and he's like, she said if it washes away before you think about me, then I don't know. Did we see a shot of it later on when he's like, oh, I should call this number? Like I feel like
No,
that's
it was
Matt's
written
question,
on
like, I had the
his.
same
It was
question.
written on his like pubes area.
It was written on his cum gutter area.
So did he? But as far as I remember seeing it. I guess I remembered it on the wrong part of his body. But like when they decided to go to her house, did they remind us of that? Because like I had the same question as Matt. Like, I got
They do,
confused.
but not in a way that like really. You have to like make inferences about the dialogue. The dialogue suggests it, but it doesn't outright say exactly what's going on.
And they don't like show you the number again. I feel like that's what they like.
Yeah,
if they had
There's
shown it, then
probably
you'd be
a
like,
cut
oh.
scene where they talk about how infrequently this guy showers, and and then show his hip again. No, I think it was when they wake up and they ask the guys if they had sex with the girls and whatever. And Joe Manganiello, Big Dick Richie, says he couldn't because the blonde girl apparently couldn't handle him. And then they like talk about the number thing, and they make that thing of like if it fades away before you think of me, and then they like say, "Oh, we're gonna be driving right through there. You should give her a call." So I think that's the implication is that he's already made up his mind that this is
It was
going to
just
be
so
worth
long,
following
okay.
up on.
But
Yeah.
like, we never saw him meet her character, and they like refer to her by name as if the audience knows the name of this character, kind of, or something like that. And it's like, okay, but
Right.
then it makes sense when they get there.
I
you know?
think if we asked the filmmakers about this and been like, "This is kind of a plot hole for me," the answer probably would have been like, "Shut the fuck up! What are you so obsessed with this one stupid thing for?" Like this is clearly one of those movies where like a detail like that is not.
But the issue is that it's not just one stupid thing. It's like every
it's a-
stupid thing.
Yeah, it's a lot of stupid things. Yeah.
So it's like we're just going down like the list.
Yeah, it's like no, forget about all the details. Any stupid details that you're concerned about, any logic or things making sense or fitting together, any dramatic conflict, just that isn't our concern here. We're going from one scene to another. We're hoping they're going to be funny, and we're definitely going to have guys stripping them. Like that's like
One big question I haven't asked yet: is there such a thing as the Myrtle Beach National Male Stripper Convention? Is that
good
a thing?
question. I assumed it was regional, but still.
Oh,
yeah,
right,
still a good
regional.
question.
Sorry. Are there conventions at all, though?
Worldwide.
The Southeast U.S. Stripper Convention.
Yeah. Are there male stripper
Why
conventions
not?
in general?
I don't know. I
Yeah,
mean,
there's
I
conventions
don't-
for everything.
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
All right, I'm googling
porn
it. Fine.
conventions, so why wouldn't there be
I'm
this?
googling it, please.
It should come up in your history.
Harris is popping up on like a red flag somewhere again.
Male strippers unleashed. Male review. Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Oh,
There you go.
That's just
Well,
like
isn't
one
a
club,
lot of this
though.
is based on Channing Tatum's life, right? So theoretically, this is something that he pitched to them.
Yeah, it's tough to. He might have blown his load on the first movie, so I'm not sure how much of this one is based on his life, but I don't know. Maybe he had some extra stuff.
While you're looking that up, I have another plot question. So I was wondering the whole time, like when they were going to explain what happened to his girlfriend from the first movie.
Oh, God,
And
this sucks.
finally they do in that scene when he pulls out the ring. But I was talking to Colleen at that moment, and I was like, oh, I just missed an important thing. I'll go back and watch this scene later. And then I didn't. So can someone tell me what he said in that scene?
I feel like this is on me, but I thought this part of the movie was very stupid and did not make sense. So the only two references to this woman, I believe, are when he pulls the hummus or whatever out of the fridge.
It's ice cream.
And
Ice cream.
ice cream.
It's ice cream. Or
My
cookies.
bad.
It's cookie dough?
Cookie dough.
Something
Cookie
like
dough
that.
ice cream.
Cookie dough. Whatever. It has a Post-it note on it that says, "Let's get fat," in all caps, together, exclamation point, I think. And then he like puts it back in the fridge, and then he like goes and does workshop stuff, and then does the pony dance. 55, maybe an hour later, he is with all the guys, and he pulls out of his wallet an object that, I don't know, maybe it's the quality of our version, but like it was not clear to me that that was a ring. He says is a wedding ring, and that he did a very elaborate proposal with, and basically says that he did anything and everything she could have ever wanted, and she just said no, and he doesn't know why, and that's it. That's all.
There's
Interesting.
one other reference to her by the pool when they ask how she is, and he says she's fine. At the beginning.
Oh,
Right.
right.
At that point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no, we haven't seen him throw. He throws away the cookie dough. He takes the thing off, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't he throw it away?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically what he says is that like he proposed to her, he had his whole life planned out, and he had the job, and they were going to get married, and that was it, and he had all this planned out, and she basically just didn't want to get married. And then the relationship fell apart shortly after that.
Did
Right.
anyone else come up with a fan theory immediately?
Let's hear it, Colin. I think we need to hear this.
His bulimia and or anorexia is so severe that the simple suggestion of the word fat being written on a piece of paper meant that he had a psychotic break in which he believed that a whole future happened with her in which she rejected him, and none of it ever happened at all. And now he is acting on that delusion.
I am so lost, which is not uncommon.
I think it is weird that they did even with Dallas and the kid, they gave a very solid explanation for why they're not there. They're like, they're in Macau, end of story. But like it was weird that they left it so wishy-washy with her. Like, why not say she died or something? Like she turned him down when he proposed and she moved out. Like I don't get it. Why they would leave it so weird, so soft.
Well, right at the beginning when he gets that phone call and he says that Dallas is dead, I thought to myself, oh wow, this is such an interesting like direction that they're taking this. So now the guys I bet they're gonna want him to like be the new Dallas, and that's where this movie is gonna go. And then it like didn't go that way at all, and I was like, oh okay.
Yeah. Again, not interested in those details.
His eating disorder is so bad that the fact that she eats cookie dough at all means that he had a hallucination in which they had a horrible experience that never happened. She's actually just at home waiting for his call the whole time.
According to Matt Bomer, there is a real life stripper convention that they base this on. There was one in Raleigh, North Carolina, around the time the movie came out that drew in over 3,000 women. And apparently they come from miles around to get crazy at the male stripper convention.
Is that a quote?
Not a direct quote.
That's on their website.
Yeah.
So
Let's talk about the convention scene.
Yeah.
I liked the whole 9 Inch Nails bit. I thought that was cool.
was that
Got me like.
was that the mirror
laughing.
dance? Which one was that?
No, that's the one with Joe Manganiello. It like comes out and it's like.
the marry me.
I wish I was something want to marry you. What's that song? Yeah.
The Bruno Mars song,
And then it changes into like
9 Inch Nails. Yeah.
of 9 Inch Nails. And he puts her up on that like swing thing, and yeah.
And
it's pretty
like
good.
props to because we mocked these guys endlessly for not being very good dancers in the first movie, and I think it's worth pointing out that Joe Manganiello has the convenience store scene and that scene, and he's become at least a passable stripper by the time Magic Mike XXL rolls around. Also, the guy who plays Tito has like one dance scene where he's got a couple of moves that like were legitimately athletic that I was like, oh shit. And like
they're fine dancers.
My girlfriend
acting
even said
questionable.
that's a body double, but then he popped up and it wasn't a body double, and I was like, oh yeah, he can kind of dance.
Tito's part of the convention is the worst part. The candy thing.
Oh yeah, terrible.
It's gross, and no one's really doing anything. It's not hot. I mean, I don't.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not super into anything that I don't know, but like.
Yeah, but then he blasts a bunch of women in the face with whipped cream at the end of it, and I was like, is this their fantasy?
It was like a little bit bad taste. The pressure on that whipped cream was a little too pressurized. I don't know.
Oh,
Imagine those women. They came all this way to see this show. They dress nice, and then they get whipped cream blasted all over them.
Yeah,
I would not be happy.
They looked very
fulfilling
happy.
every woman's fantasy of getting blasted in the face by a guy, which is not always
by an aerosol.
Not always.
I would love one of them to stand up and be like, "These are my best clothes. You
You owe
ruined
me
them.
a dry cleaning bill."
You owe me dry cleaning."
Yeah, of course, the Tarzan dance is the worst. Like, let's just like
the
we can
painting.
complain about the Tito candy dance, but Tarzan's dances are always the worst.
But Tarzan's has glitter. Tito's just has like, I don't know, food stuff.
Yeah, we also had like the prep montage where we see them training for all this, which was, at least it was short. At least they didn't do any improvised dialogue during it.
Yeah, but it got me excited. Tito in the montage, he was like pouring colored like sprinkles into a jar, and like he had all these like different toppings.
Yeah,
I didn't see those toppings in the live show.
Yeah.
Big disappointment. I stand
very
by it.
disappointed.
Tito's is worse than Tarzan's. I stand by
Okay,
it.
let me come in with my hot take, which is that Matt Bomer's is the worst. And here's my reasoning why.
That was boring.
As soon as I hear the opening notes, the first time I watched this movie, the second I heard that opening drum kick of "How Do You Feel," I knew what the song was, and I was like, "Oh no, Matt Bomer, you're not going to try to sing "How Do You Feel." Now, I want to admit that he didn't suck, but it's like that's like one of the most iconic. That's probably the most iconic soul song of this century. And A, he's not as good as D'Angelo. How could he be? And B, he sings it as a male stripper singing that song. He sings it with more clothes on than D'Angelo does in the fucking video. What the fuck? Like, that's so. I mean,
That's wrong.
Yeah.
I was a little bored at that point. I felt like that was a boring choice. He's got all his clothes on and he's like just singing. Like,
it's a
he's
great
just
song,
standing there
but
singing.
it's just he's not D'Angelo.
When he does the heaven thing in the rich woman's living room,
That's pretty good.
I thought he was gonna go with heaven in the big. In
Yeah.
the convention.
Me too.
And what I thought they were going to do is do it like a cappella acoustic in the beginning, doing
Right.
heaven, and then
rock
come
it
in
out.
with that hard dance beat, like that hit song from when I was in high school with
Yeah.
DJ Sammy. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. That shit was great. I still listen to that. Should be every day.
And I think
need
he's
to
got a
make
better he's got a better voice than Bryan Adams. It's just don't put yourself up there next to D'Angelo. That's just dumb.
Daniel, what was your favorite of the convention scene?
Yeah, I mean, definitely some combination of Joe Manganiello and I thought the Magic Mike, I don't know the name of the actor that he danced. That was the other, dancer in the mirror.
that either.
But
That's Steven.
that mirror dance was really cool. I love that. But it sucks
Yeah.
because that was like the final act, right? And like Colin said, you get bored by like the second one because it just turns into like a variety show.
And we were
it's like,
seeing
we
their
don't-
whole acts, like make it a montage.
It's rough. Like there's no like it could have worked if there's like something behind the scenes going wrong, like I don't know, with some drama, something, but it's like there's nothing to hold our attention besides the performances.
Yeah.
And
I didn't understand why they all go down to thongs in the very end, but they don't all go down to thongs until after all of the dances are over. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
yeah, I was
That
actually
seems
going
like-
to say that one of my biggest complaints about the movie overall is the amount of clothing. I feel like they like teased us at the very beginning with Joe Manganiello's butt at the pool. and then
Right.
really quickly they like put their clothes back on, and I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like this is a stripper movie. It's like, it makes sense to see
Let's see some
full
asses.
frontal potentially.
Yeah.
Juxtapose that with Showgirls, which is also a stripper movie, but for men, for the male gaze, and it's like
see
they're
vaginas.
nude all the time.
Yeah.
The whole movie, yeah.
Yeah,
there's,
you
like,
would think that
full
in two
vagina.
male stripper movies you'd see at least one dick, but no.
Right.
Wait.
also-
I forgot to mention this, but I kind of feel like the secret standout in this movie was the convenience store worker, the employee on her who's like on her phone, like not smiling. I feel like she was great, and at the moment
She
that
was
she
great.
smiles,
I looked her up.
I
She
love
hasn't.
her.
She's been in other stuff, but not like she's always like convenience store worker or like
we could have gotten her on the podcast.
sad girl in the background. Yeah.
Oh
We
yeah,
probably
that'd be great. In the very first, like the really wide shot where you can't really see who she is yet, I thought it was Amy Schumer for a second.
She's got an Amy Schumer vibe going on.
Yeah,
The
but it's not.
Black
Wait.
Magic Mike his name is Stephen Twitch Boss, and he is I think from Dancing with the Stars or something. But
okay.
he was specifically asked by Channing Tatum to be in this movie.
Cool.
Here's the thing. What happened to, speaking of Joe Manganiello's, Chuck Mangione's buttocks in the pool scene? What happened to the motorcycle helmet girl? Why do we introduce her if she's not a character?
She
Yeah, I
seemed like
hated
fun.
that.
She was a legit agent of
Yeah.
chaos. I was ready for her to be popping up in the movie and never having any lines
I-
and never taking the helmet off.
I think she would have helped the film. I
Yeah.
do.
As long as we're going to make something this goofy, I say just run with it.
Yeah.
Clearly on drugs, but yeah.
So
I
were
mean-
all of them for most of the movie.
And I think this is the problem with the movie is also I think a lack of. I don't think it wanted to be anything else than what it is, And I think like when we talk about because I had the exact same reaction as you did. The only conflict or potential drama that was taking place in that final dance number was I just kept on seeing the way they were dancing and thinking somebody's going to step on somebody else's hair in sneakers. And it's going to be very painful. And then that was like the only
Or
kind
someone's
of...
going to slip on a dollar bill.
Yeah, exactly. Like there was like such a lot going on. I was like, somebody's going to get kicked in the face with a Nike and this is not going to be
Damn.
fun anymore.
Yeah.
If we ever make a male stripper movie, I think that I can do the slipping on a dollar bill and falling comedy physical bit very well. I'm prepared to audition for
I
that.
feel like this is not the first time we've suggested making a movie of our own. I feel like we should at least have a list of our production slate at this point of like what
Yes.
movies we have in the works. Because this is like the 8th or 9th one that we're like, we should, if we ever do this.
Daniel's a producer. Maybe he can help us out.
You just have to listen back to all of your podcasts and create that list
Yeah, exactly. And just combine them all into one
into one movie.
movie.
Great.
All right. Do you guys think we should introduce Daniel to a little game called Top 4?
Oh, yeah, let's
Top
play top 4. What's it going to be,
four.
Colin? I don't even know what you
Oh.
could possibly come up
You
with
have
here.
a lot to choose from.
You know what sucks is when the host of Top 4 forgets that he's supposed to host Top 4.
So it could be, but we have a lot of cameos from people like Michael Strahan. We do top 4 Michael Strahan movies.
I kind of want to do Channing Tatum though. Did we do that last time? Did we play Top 4 last time?
We did.
Yeah, we did McConaughey.
McConaughey.
Oh,
yeah.
McConaughey.
So top 4, Daniel, is we have we're trying to guess the top 4 movies as indicated by IMDb without cheating, which is incredibly difficult because IMDb is stupid and their top 4 movies seem to be completely random. So we're going to go around and take turns. You will get to go first. And we're
But
going
what
to
do you
guess.
mean by top 4?
It's at the top of
For a
their
particular
IMDb
actor.
profile, and every
Oh.
actor will have like their 4 movies that are like they're known for, according
So
to
we
IMDb.
can't
You know,
look
when
at
you-
we can't look at a list of their movies now. We have to based on
Just
our
try to
knowledge
remember.
of.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just have to
Oh,
use
God.
your powers.
It's
your
very
mind.
it's awful, and we're all bad at it. You can't be good at it because IMDb is so fucking stupid. That
Well,
it's
no,
not
it's
their-
for me. It's more like I don't feel like. I mean, we'll see how familiar I am with what these actors have been in. That's all. We'll see.
Well, we're going to try and
I
pick
think that's
someone
why
that you
that's
have
why
a
I should do
shot at
Channing
guessing.
then, right? That's why I should do
Yeah,
Channing.
Sure.
Then. Yeah,
well,
we'll do Channing.
Are his top 4 crazy, or are they something that?
I don't want to give you any hints.
Well, I think I'm just saying for you as a person who's picking this, Don't pick somebody who's
is
top
it
4
doable,
like totally
or are we gonna
dumb.
be here all night? Kind
Yeah,
of.
exactly.
It's doable.
Okay. All right.
One of them is really hard. The other ones are not.
Okay. Well, then, Daniel, you are up first. What is one of Channing Tatum's most known for movies, according to IMDb?
Well, I'm just gonna use the information that I heard earlier and say 21 Jump Street.
All right.
21 Jump Street is correct.
That's my guess.
Yay!
Okay.
I am going to guess Magic Mike.
Wrong.
Magic Mike is incorrect.
I am going to guess Step Up.
Oh, that's a good one.
That is wrong.
Wrong.
That's a good guess. That's a really good guess. That was on Google's top 4 but not IMDb's top 4. But so good guess. Yeah.
Daniel, back to you.
Magic Mike XXL.
That
Wrong.
is also wrong. I'm sorry.
Another good guess. Oh, this is stupid, but I'm going to guess 22 Jump Street.
You are correct.
All right.
22 Jump Street is
Wow.
correct.
Dumb.
Yes. Are we in the hint round?
Yeah. No, Matt's
How
got
many
to
have
go.
we gotten?
After Matt, we're in the hint round. Okay.
We have one left or two left?
2 more.
Two more. Okay.
We've only gotten the Jump Streets.
Yep.
Yeah. What the hell else is he in? Is he in This Is the End?
That is incorrect. Is that the End of the
Wrong.
World Seth Rogen movie?
Yeah, I think he
Yeah.
is in that.
I
though,
don't
isn't he?
think-
Isn't he in there as a
I don't
cameo?
think he's in
No.
Maybe
I think
he
he
is.
has
Oh
a
yeah, he is a
cameo as,
cameo.
like, one-
He's the
He's one of the cannibals
sub-slave
at the end.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Um,
Okay, so we're on the hint round.
yeah.
Yeah.
My hint is Steve Carell.
What?
Yeah, Harris. You
Wow,
might not
Daniel.
get it.
The Anchorman.
That is incorrect. He is not in.
Wrong.
Steve Carell. Oh man. See, this is just getting me so thrown farther off. So I'm just gonna go back to my original guess, which is gonna be wrong. She's the Man, with Amanda
That
Bynes.
is incorrect. No Amanda
Wrong.
Bynes pictures here. Sorry.
Okay, I'm pretty sure I know what it is, but I'm blanking on the name of it. I think it's something like Crazy Beautiful Love or like Crazy Stinky
You're
Love or
thinking of
something
Ryan
like that.
Gosling.
You're wrong. You're
Oh,
way wrong.
damn it.
Yeah, you're thinking Ryan Gosling.
Wrong.
And you're way wrong.
All right, you might have to give us a second hint, Colin, either
All right.
about that movie or about the other one.
I'm going to do the other one. The second hint about the other movie is it has a similar title and to a movie that came before it, and the word down is in the title. This is the hard one, I think.
Wait, you're saying? So is the clue that it has a similar title to the predecessor? Like this is a sequel of it?
Yes. And it has the word down in the title. Both of the movies have the word down in the title. Really? Yeah, this is the one I thought would be the hard one. It has Jamie Foxx in it. And Maggie Gyllenhaal.
What? I feel like you're making up.
It's a real
movies.
movie. I'm not. It's real.
I'm-
And y'all are going to kick yourselves when you don't realize what it was.
So
when I
there's
gave
two
you this
movies
many
left,
hints.
and there's two movies left, and one of them has Steve Carell in them, and one of them has Maggie Gyllenhaal and Jamie Foxx in them. So that rules out.
And is a sequel?
And it's a sequel.
Right. So
Yeah.
that rules out the Hateful Eight and G.I. Joe movies and basically anything else I was thinking of guessing. All the step ups.
G.I. Joe, I forgot about those movies.
Oh, the G.I. Joes. What a pair of pictures there. Okay, so
Oh, wait.
I'll do another hint about the Steve Carell one. You're gonna be wrestling with this answer.
Oh, I got it.
Yeah.
Do you
It's
want to
Daniel's
take it,
turn.
or do I have to? I have to guess something.
Yeah.
You
if
have
you
to
want
guess
guess
something.
if you want guess something that's funny.
I want to guess something with the word down in it, but
Downton Abbey.
why do you? That would have been a good one.
What's that famous book? It's like Battleship Down or something.
Yeah.
Watership Down.
You get
about
pretty
the-
close.
about the
Watership
evil
Down.
rabbits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're also getting pretty close.
Down.
Down Periscope.
Oh, so it's something down. The word order is blank down.
Yes.
Breakdown.
What? Okay.
Break it down.
The Get Down.
Wow.
All right.
Somebody's got to guess.
Well, the other one's Foxcatcher.
All right,
Yeah,
all right,
Harrison's
all
correct
right.
on the
Carell
Foxcatcher.
wrestling movie. Steve Carell and who was the guy in that? The other guy, Mark Ruffalo.
Channing Tatum.
Oh,
Ruffalo.
yeah.
Channing Tatum. So makes sense.
So now we're thinking of a Jamie Foxx, Maggie Gyllenhaal movie that's something down, blank down.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Broke Down Palace.
No.
No, not that one.
So let me see if I can get the synopsis so I can figure out the name of the other movie that has the same title like this. There's another movie that's like something down or something down.
But it's in the same world
The other.
as this movie?
Oh, you know what? It's okay. Sorry, it's Olympus Has Fallen is the similar one.
Oh, what
White
is that
House
movie
Down.
called?
White House Down. That's
All right, all
What?
right,
I've
all
never heard
right.
of this movie before. What is
Yeah,
it?
it's basically Olympus Has Fallen, except with Jamie Foxx and Channing Tatum. And
That's why I thought it was a sequel. I thought it was the sequel to Olympus Has Fallen. Maybe it is. I'm not sure.
no, because Olympus Has
Yeah,
Fallen.
that was
has
the
all
year
these
that there
other
were two
sequels.
movies that came out about the White House being overrun by terrorists and like a lone gunman has to like save the world.
Yeah.
And White House Down was the Roland Emmerich version,
Right.
and with starring Channing Tatum. And then, is it Olympus Has Fallen?
Yeah,
That
Olympus
is the
Has
first
Fallen.
one.
That
That's
one
with,
has a sequel. There's another Has
that
Fallen.
It
has
has
two
two
sequels,
sequels
yeah.
and another
Oh,
one
okay.
on the way.
Well,
You know what's
Who's that
interesting?
guy though? I can't think of his name. The actor.
Gerard Butler.
He's Scottish.
No,
Butler,
yeah,
that's it.
Gerard Butler, and who was the other guy? Aaron
Eckhart.
Sorkin.
Aaron Sorkin. Aaron Sorkin's other great White House movie. You know, we should have done Andy McDowell. We would have gotten it really quick. It was Groundhog Day, Sex, Lies, and Videotape, 4 Weddings and a Funeral, and
St.
This
Elmo's
movie.
Fire.
no, it was actually Hudson Hawk. We would have had trouble with that one.
Oh, we
Yeah,
never
that's
would have
too
got
hard.
that.
What's weird about this is White House Down is 2013, 21 Jump Street is 2012, 22 Jump Street is 2014, and Foxcatcher is 2014. So IMDb definitely has a very short window of
Channing
3
Tatum
years
era.
in which which Channing Tatum was most important to IMDb.
Yeah, peak,
But you know,
peak
a
Tatum.
thought that I had while
Yeah.
watching this is that Channing Tatum hasn't really done anything in a while, right? He's kind of taken a little break or something. Like, what has he been in?
What's his-
lately?
The Coen Brothers one with
Hail Caesar. Yep.
I liked him in Hail
3
Caesar.
or 4
And
years ago.
Hateful
like
Eight.
5.
7 years
Hateful
ago.
Eight. That was only a couple. Well, that was like 5 years ago.
That was also like 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah. Okay.
5.
Fine. So what? You want the man to work himself to death? Jesus, Matt.
He's like in the prime of his life. What the hell?
He's gone through a
He's
divorce.
like a huge, superstar. Is he?
Is he?
yeah.
Who is he married to?
Jenna
Jenna
Dewan Tatum from
I don't know how to say it.
I think they were it was her his co-star in Step Up. I'm pretty sure they got divorced a couple of years ago.
Oh.
Let's see, what has he done lately? He has done a bunch of random shit that hasn't come out yet. The Lego Movie, the second part, just his voice.
That was the 5th IMDb one.
Kingsman: The Golden Circle, very small role. Logan Lucky in 2017, so that was a while ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 2017 is basically the last time he worked. But it looks like he's got some stuff coming out whenever the pandemic is over.
That's very optimistic of you.
Are they making a G.I. Joe 3?
Once they stopped doing those 21 Jump Street movies, his career really took a dive.
Yeah. Well, maybe he's got enough money and he's just chilling.
Is Jump Street him living his best life as an actor?
I think those movies unlocked like his potential. You know, he was sort of this beefcake like dancing guy.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
when I saw him in a movie, I was like, oh, I don't want to see that. You know, but then after 21 Jump Street, I realized how funny he was, and
I kind of feel
Now
like
I'm like,
Beefcake
I'll
Dancing
go
Guy
see
might
it.
be his potential. I think that might be. I think that might be peak Channing Tatum.
So do you think the objective, if you were a studio, would be then find a way to pair him with Jonah Hill again.
Yeah, if possible, I would like to see a movie where Jonah Hill was on his shoulders the entire time, and they basically were only playing one character.
Harris, I love what you're saying right now so much. That is the right thing.
So Jonah
to say.
Hill is like the head, like the talking.
Yeah,
part of it,
exactly.
and he's
Jonah Hill's like the talking
dancing,
head.
yeah.
And Jonah Hill's also the arms.
Oh yeah, with a big coat.
Yeah, Channing Tatum's all legs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's holding up that movie, you might say.
Every movie starts with a good foundation.
Or else Channing Tatum is the body, and Jonah Hill's head is just like the Krang stomach that does all the talking.
Or more like a Quato, if you will.
Maybe a
Quato.
Quato, yeah.
I can see Jonah Hill in the promotional interviews now. It's just, all I've ever wanted my whole life was to be able to play a Quato type character.
Yeah.
Then there's like an outcry from Hollywood. Only like real Quatos can play Quatos in movies.
You must be a half-formed chest twin.
Yeah. Only mutants, real mutants.
Yeah, stop
I've
stealing
been a-
jobs from real mutants.
I've been a Quato all of my life, and I've never been in one single movie role yet. I've been
The many Quato actors. They formed their own little guild.
Yes.
Did you ever see that sketch on SNL when they used to do like Bill Hader had a Quato and it was Andy Samberg?
Daniel, are you familiar with Quato? I don't know if you're.
I'm like picking up on what you're giving, but I don't have a visual reference.
It's a Total Recall character that grows out of a man's chest and is like kind of a half-formed puppet beast.
Yeah, it's beautiful if you want to look
Yeah,
at
it's
that.
beautiful and a little bit dumb.
Yeah.
I was gonna say one thing I could have done without is the last scene with Kevin Nash and Channing Tatum, where it's like they basically call out like, "Hey, we haven't had many scenes together in this script. Let's have one right now before our big stripper dance." And that's like basically the dialogue is like, "Hey, we haven't really shared the screen too much. Let's have a moment. All right, enough of that shit. Let's go out
I
and do
hated that.
But I love Joe Manganiello's reaction to the Twilight dancers. the
Oh,
Twilight,
yeah.
where he's
I
like,
forgot
scrunches
to
up his
mention
nose.
that.
They're like, "Who's killing out there?" He's like, "Some vampire bullshit."
But it was also it's a wink to like the True Blood fans, right? 'Cause
Right,
of him
right.
being in that, and I feel like now it could really go over your head, but at that time, like of course, like anyone watching this is gonna know.
Yeah. I thought for a hot second, I was like, wait, is he in the Twilight movies? Because that would be hilarious if he's shitting on them. But then I looked it up and
Right.
he's not. It's just a True Blood thing.
Honestly, that True Blood act was like one of the only parts of the movie that actually kind of turned me on, because I feel like that's like getting into a little bit of this like role fantasy of like creating
The
sexual.
Twilight thing, you mean?
Yeah, sorry. Oh, that's what did I say? True Blood. Oh, yeah.
True Blood, yeah.
Well, that would work too. But yeah, the Twilight thing was just like that, like is that fantasy of like role playing and fan fiction, and I feel like that's like what the actual strip performances didn't have for me. It was like it felt so. It was almost so polished.
Yeah.
And I feel like that one seemed like a lot more like amateur, and I kind of liked that. But I feel like all of the performances, I love the dancing, but they just felt so. It was like so commercialized now.
Well, and this is something that Channing Tatum said when I was studying up on the first movie. He said, like, you can't be too serious because the women like it to be a little goofy and campy. And that's kind of like what doesn't work about their final sketches is they're all too rehearsed, too polished, too production designed, and they lack a lot of that camp and goofiness and self-consciousness. And too much.
This is like a concert.
Right.
They're going to see a concert.
Right.
It's not like a dingy club somewhere.
Right, yeah.
Where-
And too much
Yeah.
Jada Pinkett
Different,
Smith. I don't know why they need an MC for this between the acts. Like every time she came on and she was like speechifying, I was like, nobody wants to see you. We want to see like, Beefcake.
Yeah, and the pacing of it really like killed
Right.
it for me. Like
Yeah.
her slowing it
Like,
down.
everybody stop for a second. I'm going
time.
to talk.
Also, Donald Glover was totally capable of doing the exact same thing. Was
Yeah.
he not? Like,
Yeah.
why was he there at that point?
Right.
you
He
know?
even does one of the transitions because it
Yeah.
would be awkward to bring her in the middle of it. But yeah, it's very, very weird. I do like when they all put their hands in and she's like, "No, it's not time to bro out. It's time to show out. Get ready to go." And then she leaves and they all put their hands back in and they do the thing, but they do it quietly and they're all like, "Male entertainers." When they yell male entertainers quietly, I that was my biggest laugh in the movie.
I like that. That was funny.
We should have done top 4 for
Yeah.
Jada Pinkett Smith. When I was watching it with Colleen, she's like, I don't think I've ever seen Jada Pinkett Smith in a movie.
Is
I know
Baps
who
one
she
of her
is,
top
but,
4?
Like,
Matrix.
Baps.
Matrix 2 and 3.
yeah, that's what I said. Matrix sequels and Scream 2. That's all I know.
Oh, that was great. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like the Drew Barrymore of Scream.
She's
2,
just the opening murder. Yeah.
Yeah, I hated that Tarzan, him and Tarzan scene. Like some of the stuff we've already touched on. These can be my closing thoughts too. Is like the screenwriter basically, you know, turned it into like a lifestyle comedy of like zany, fun stripper times. They also kind of patronized the audience a little bit with the whole like, I'm just gonna write in a drag club scene. And then this is like totally disrespecting the audience. Is like he's literally saying the subtext out loud, and like there's no point in the scene. The screenwriting for me is just really poor in this movie. Probably the worst thing about it. And the dialogue is just so bad. And I don't know, should I go ahead and give my Timothy Dolphins? Or are we going to explain the Dolphins rating?
I think Daniel will get it. Yeah, if you just do it.
I'm gonna go with I'm kind of torn between like 4 and a 5. I'll go with 5. You know, I'm always feeling generous. Obviously, 5 Timothy Dolphins. It's about the same as Mortal Kombat Annihilation, I guess.
Oh my god, I forgot about that. You should never live that one down. This movie is much better than Mortal Kombat Annihilation, but it's diminishing returns. It's a fun movie. It's got great moments. I love the convenience store scene. I like a lot of the dances. I love the pony dance that he does at the beginning. The soundtrack of this movie is fucking dope. The soundtrack of this movie is excellent. It's got like this mix of like indie rock and like R&B and like, you know, hip hop and just all together pretty good music, good dance numbers. There are certain scenes that really work. Most of them don't involve written dialogue or improvised dialogue. I think you can't just blame the screenwriter, because yes, this was a poorly written movie in a lot of ways, but also you can cut out a lot of these scenes. Like there's no reason. I mean, if at some point you look at this Amber Heard character and you just go, this isn't working, just cut out her scenes, or just cut some of these scenes where the dialogue is improvised and doesn't pan out. Just cut them shorter. Just cut it tighter. There was so many scenes that just felt like they lingered for a long time and didn't work, whereas I just would have liked to see more dancing and more music. It would have worked better if they leaned into like the idea of this as just kind of a goofy musical. But on that level, it worked for me. So I'm going to give it 4 Timothy Dolphins out of 10, because it does have its moments, but you know, mostly it's just sort of it really probably should be lower, but you know, I like the cast. I like the fact that they turned like kind of a garbage concept for a movie into something very watchable.
They turned a guy whose whole character was having a big dick into an actual character that you can watch. That's something.
That's something.
Daniel, do you want to give it a shot?
Yeah, well, kind of like
system?
Going off of what Harris was saying. You know, it's like a perfect movie. No, sorry, it's not a perfect movie.
It's like a perfect movie in many ways.
It was,
all right, we're out. We're done.
Tell me more.
I was going to say, it's a perfect movie for like watching during a party where you actually can talk to your friends during all of the all the dialogue scenes. It's kind of like a perfect movie for the fun dancing moments where you can turn to it, or you know, it's a perfect movie for knowing when to go to the bathroom, because any time there's like a scene going on, you can leave.
Anytime people are talking, you're safe.
Yeah, like you're not going to miss anything. Like if you have a question, like, oh, did I miss this part? You're like, no, you did not miss that part. You know, so it's like, you know, I think I'll agree with your like 4 to 5, you know, rating, just because it's like, in a way for me, it's like half the movie worked, which is like the music, which is the performances and the dancing, and the other half, which is the storytelling and the dialogue, you know, and a lot of the acting was not there. You know, it's hard because you guys know your spectrum of other movies that you can compare to within this rating, but I'll give it a 4, but like nice. A 4 would still recommend, you know, on a certain level.
We used to issue the license to watch or not, but we don't do that anymore. And I think we've rated movies sub 5 before and still issued
and still
the license.
giving them a license to watch.
Yeah.
There's a certain kind of movie, and this falls totally into that category of a not going to get a high score, but also would probably get a license to watch. And I think you're spot on at a party or like certain movies
The right
are great to
circumstances,
play
yeah.
in like the background at a bar or something. That's
Yes.
actually the ideal way to watch them.
Yeah.
True.
I think for me, I don't know. I think this movie, for me, the biggest problem this movie has is dialogue. And, that could be the writing, but I think a lot of it is the delivery for me, the actors. But I think it's the directing style of like the improvisation. I think if this had a tighter script that they were going off of that was similar to the style in which the first movie was made, I think this movie would have been elevated. Having said that, if this movie didn't have that problem, I feel like the story of this, like, or like the way in which this movie was brought together, it benefits from, like, it's not like a superhero sequel where like we need to see A, B, and C happen. Like, we're coming into this movie, we're just looking for like guys dancing in a funny way and like a sexual funny way. Like, it's fun for women especially, but it's fun for guys too because it's just so like it's fun. It's like it's something you're not going to see in another movie. So for me, I feel like this movie is pretty unique, and like whereas some movies kind of meander where they don't have like stakes or they don't have a real plot, I was like happy to follow these guys on their road trip and see where they go and the misadventures that their drug-addled lives like bring them. And I don't know, I was having a lot of fun, and really, if the dialogue was more compelling, I don't even care that there's no stakes, that there's nothing riding on any of what they're doing. There's whether they win or lose, or even if they go out there and like completely fuck up, like what does it matter? Like it's just like it's an exhibition.
We don't even know if they won or
is.
lost or completely fucked up.
We don't.
Yeah, we never found out. Like, is there a winner or is it just a
lot of those dollar bills don't even get picked up. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right. They don't even make that clear. Like, is it fake money, like, or is it real money? And if it is, like, how come no one's picking it up?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like, I wanna be right with you guys and give it like a middle of the road 4 or 5. But I had a lot of fun with this movie, and really for me, I think this movie could be on another level if it really just had
Passable
better
dialogue,
actors and dialogue. Yeah, passable, exactly. So I don't know. I think I have to give it a little bit higher. I have to give it a 6 Timothy Dolphins.
Wow.
I've got no argument with any of these scores. I think they're all like this. You can't deny that for a movie with no stakes and very little plot and all these other problems, it is fun. It's like not boring. It's kind of a This movie's kind of a trip.
Yeah, this movie easily could have sucked and been like unwatchable on a Mortal Kombat Annihilation level, but it's
Yes, they're on
it's
the
not
exact
that.
same level.
Yeah. Actually, I said that I laughed when they said the yell whispered male entertainers. The funniest thing in this movie, the thing that I laughed the most at, is when after the feature mirror dance with Magic Mike and Black Magic Mike, they cut back to Joe Manganiello's character, and they still have that poor girl in the leather stirrups.
Yeah,
that was what I
Let
laughed
her
the most
out.
at. I was like, Jesus, they didn't even cut her down. Come on.
and she's just sitting there, like not even trying to move. Or
And she's like just watching the show like from a reclined position, trying to like crane her neck to see what's going on.
well, I loved all the other 2 girls in the mirror show. Like they were getting flipped onto the ground, flipped upside down, or whatever. I had 2 thoughts. One of them is like they're just laying there, and like how do they know that they can't like roll out of that position yet?
Yeah.
Like, and what if they did and he could trip over or whatever?
Yeah.
My other thought is like a lot of times when I go see live shows, like there's just something about, or like I should say live shows where there's the possibility that you could get picked out of the audience and like brought up on stage. I get like the nervous like shits or nervous gas, and I always wonder if like some girl, like one of those girls, had that too, and like she's getting
Farting
farting
her
upside down
brains
and her
out.
ass
Yeah.
is right in his face. What if she just like rips one right there, and
Yep.
he's like, okay, well, like that must happen all the time. I'm sorry.
I mean, that's part of the job. This is why this is like the non-glamorous side. This is like what Colin's been complaining about, is that they don't show that in this movie. In Magic Mike, they totally would have shown that. In this movie, it's all
you're right, you're
all
right.
glamorizing it and whatever. I also think it's awful the way they call Amber Heard's character out of the audience. And Jada Pinkett Smith's like, Zoe, come on up here. She's come a long way. She's gonna be our. And then some black girl
She's
get
a
up
plant.
here. Yeah, just like it's like
Yeah.
it's like you're just, we don't even know who you're not a named character in this, but you also have to be here because the mirror thing won't work if you're not on stage too. So like
Yeah,
it's
I
like,
didn't
come on
understand
guys, just give the other girl a name for Christ's sake. Can we?
Yeah. I would say that's also screenwriting. You
Yeah,
can't
kind of
just
sloppy.
name the
I mean, that's
character.
also the execution and everything, but
Yeah. I think he also like pulls her head backwards by her hair at one point. That could go
Yes.
very wrong.
Yeah.
You know.
I think we've said all we can say about this movie. And Daniel, you get to experience. We're going to announce what our next franchise is. So I'm going to cue the
so
music
exciting.
right now. So, this is the end of our second two-for series. We each got to choose a two-for series. The first was Mortal Kombat. That was my pick. Harris's pick was Magic Mike. And now, it's Colin's pick, which is, of course, the great two-for classic.
Conan, the Barbarian.
I'm very much looking forward to this. These movies are great.
Conan the Destroyer.
And they're some simultaneously great and bad.
Arnold Schwarzenegger is back.
Destined to sit on his throne with a troubled brow.
Director John Milius is at it again.
Drive his enemies before him. Hear the lamentations of their women.
Conan, what is best in life?
To see your enemies driven before you. To hear the lamentation of the women.
Wrong.
So yeah, we're pretty excited for that. I've actually only ever seen the first one. I own them both on DVD, but I have yet to watch Conan the Destroyer.
Well,
So I'm pretty excited.
That'll be a
Pretty
fun
pumped.
adventure. Daniel, we're wrapping up here. Thanks for coming on.
Oh,
though.
you guys are amazing and hilarious, and thank you for inviting me.
And so
to
again,
join you.
what's the name of your movie that is coming out? The Queen of Meth.
It's
is that it?
it's a 3-part docu-series on Discovery Plus called Queen of Meth. It's all streaming online on through Discovery Plus. You can get the trial for a week and not pay for it. Just remember to unsubscribe.
Nice.
And yeah, I'll let you guys know what's up for me next. But some stuff's in the works.
Daniel, do you want to share your Instagram or your Twitter? Are you are you on social media where people could follow you if you have stuff you want to put out there?
No, not really.
Good for you. Me neither.
I wasn't sure.
I'm fading out of it.
Yeah, keep a low
slowly.
profile.
Actually, wait. I do have like one funny thing to mention. I don't even know if I want this to be public. Well, anyway, so I did have a Twitter account that I used a lot, and I haven't used it in years. But recently, I was like, oh, I should probably go through that and delete things that I don't want to be there anymore. Just like things that I'd be embarrassed about. And as I was going through it, I found a tweet from 2012 of my reaction to watching Magic Mike. And I didn't even know I watched it until I saw that tweet last night. Like I watched the Magic Mikes to like prepare for this, and it wasn't until I saw this tweet of me like making a joke about like watching Magic Mike alone, like petting my cat and eating ice cream, that I was like, wait, this happened? Or like maybe it was a joke. I don't know, but I think it was real. So anyway, it didn't leave an impression on me.
I don't know. That sounds like a pretty good night.
Yeah.
That's like exactly how Harris watched it.
That's how I spend most of my nights.
All right, well, that's it then. Daniel, thanks again, and
Thank you.
we hope you had fun. We'd love to have you back again at some point.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, we hope that you will agree to come back.
I have to make use of this microphone now, so I'm all yours.
Yeah. I should work for these microphone companies. I've gotten so many people to buy them.
Or just start your own podcast. It's super easy, and you don't even have to say anything good.
What is that supposed to be?
I don't know how Colin could tell I was looking at him when I'm just looking at the Zoom screen.
I would like I know this is your podcast, and so it makes sense that you guys get to choose the movies, but I do feel like it would be a funny experience for you guys to have guests get to choose movies once in a while, so that like you're forced in a completely like unpredictable, like not your lane kind of movies to watch. So one day I'm gonna get you back and to choose something completely random.
We have a couple of ideas we're bouncing around.
We could have like a guest choice section. That would be would be an interesting idea. Although, in fairness, our movies aren't always. I mean, Magic Mike is certainly not in our comfort zone, I think, or in our wheelhouse.
That's true.
We do branch out a little bit more in our bonus episodes than in our main ones, but we try to keep it varied. Not all Arnold franchises.
Yeah.
Not all De Palma movies. Not everything we do is a Brian De Palma movie.
Yeah. Or is it?
That's the Chicago way.
Now we've got to now we've got to figure out how do we close this episode out.
I have an idea.
Just my hip rolls.
Baby, you're all that I want.
When you're
Lying here in my arms, finding it hard to
believe we're in heaven.
heaven.